Hey, y'all. So, let's talk about phobias. Okay? Let's talk about phobias. Now, there are some phobias that I've had in my lifetime and I managed to overcome them. Not all. I'm not going to sit here and act like, "Oh yeah, I'm tough. Da, da, da. I'm tough. Karate kicked all my phobias." That's not exactly true. But some of my biggest phobias I've conquered. Um, and some of them are going to probably sound weird. Like, you're scared of that? Really? Yeah, I was. Okay. Psst. Come here. So anyway, come here, babe. Um, One of my biggest phobias, and you're all going to trip. You're going to be like, "What? Really?" One of my biggest phobias was I was terrified, terrified to stay in a hospital as a patient. Now, I used to work in a hospital, so you're like, "You worked there and you were terrified?" Yes, yes. I liked helping other people, but I hated being in the hospital myself. I felt like you're gonna inflict pain on me and I'm helpless, and it's just, let's put it this way, the phobia was so powerful that a friend of mine, me and some friends went to see one of our friends in the hospital after she I think she was in labor, and just visiting her freaked me out. And I started hyperventilating, and I said, "I gotta go. I, I gotta go. I gotta go." And they're like, "Where are you going?" "I'm going home. I gotta go." And I was in walking distance from where I lived at the time. And they were all looking at me like, "What the freaking heck is wrong with her?" And working in the hospital didn't bother me at all. I really enjoyed it a lot. But being a patient would, like I said, it would flip me out. And I carried that phobia for many years. I don't know why I had that phobia in the first place. I just know that I did. I don't know where it came from. I don't know. But I've been like that ever since I was a kid. And I never had comfort through it because, obviously when parents are toxic and poisonous and resent their daughter, no, they're not going to help you through your fear. You have to snap out of it. So you got to deal with it by yourself. And I had to deal with it by myself, which doesn't decrease the fear, right? So I think I pretty much got over that because, as you guys know, if you know me, you know through the years I've had a lot of surgeries. Not all, obviously not all at one time, but like this problem and that problem, and you know, um, just problems, just multiple I fractured my toes, I broke my leg, I had to have a oh appendectomy the same day. It was on a Sunday. They did the surgery on a Sunday. And I had a tumor in my spine. These are years apart as far as I can remember. So one thing that I noticed is the phobia, usually, not always, but usually it's bigger in your head than it is in reality. So, in other words, the thing that you do the thing that you're trying really hard not to do because it freaks you out, makes you hyperventilate, makes your heart race, makes you break out in a sweat. When you actually have to do it and you survive it, you're like, that wasn't that bad. I survived it. And that's how it was with me. I'm not going to sit here and say I got used to being in the hospital, but in a way I did because I was in it so many times. And, the last surgery was my foot, the surgery on my foot. And prior to that, it was the appendectomy because I had abdominal pain that wasn't normal. I mean, I know my body relatively well, pretty good. And I know when I have pain every day. I literally have pain every day. I have fibromyalgia. And I know without a doubt when that pain is different from normal. So it kind of stops me dead in my tracks and I go, that's weird. And I don't know where that came from. And I dilly dallied for a couple of days, which could be life threatening, by the way, if you have an appendix issue, because it could rupture and that would put you in a very serious situation. All those toxins will be spraying through your body if it should rupture. So it's a pretty serious situation. But when I look at all the procedures, I survived them. The fear, the intense phobia is way bigger in your head than reality in the majority of cases. I also had a tremendous fear, which makes no sense. I worked in the medical field, so eventually you're going to have to get past, the fear of injecting people. That really, I had no desire to do it. I don't like the idea of poking needles in people at all. It freaked me out. And at one point I was working for a doctor's office. You probably know where I'm going with this, okay? I had to give shots at one point. And I look here. I tried to be like Michael Jackson. I tried to moonwalk out of it and it wasn't going to happen. I tried to moonwalk out of it. I really did try. It didn't work. The lady was training me to give flu shots. And I said, well, I'd rather watch you, because I've never done it before. And she let me slide with that a couple of times. And then she was like, are you ready? I'm like, not really. She said, you're doing the next one. And I'm like, oh, God. Oh, my God. I don't know, man. The idea of putting a needle in someone freaked me the heck out. Oh, so I avoided as long as I could. And then she's like, it's happening. She said, ask them, do they have an allergy towards eggs? Because I guess of what's the ingredient inside the shot, if they have an allergy towards eggs. And then you just give it to them. And, in my mind, it was this mountain of fear, Mount Everest of fear. Oh my God, oh my God. And when I did it for the first time, it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a freaking big deal. It's intramuscular. It goes right in the muscle, right in here, right? And the needle is super fine. You barely feel the needle going in. They barely feel the needle go in. Obviously, they feel a little pinch, but nothing that's gonna, it was just a mountain in my head. And it was nothing like that when I did it for real. So I went from, I've got to avoid that at all costs, okay, which didn't work out at all, to, okay, now I have no choice. I have to do it. Oh, God, And then I did it and I survived it and the patient survived it. You don't act nervous because obviously don't freak the patient out. And hopefully they won't ask you, how many of these have you done? Hopefully they won't ask. I guess you could, I don't know, tell them, oh, this isn't a big deal. This is really easy. I've done this before. I don't know what you're going to say, but it was nothing. It was no big deal. And then I graduated from its terror to I'm pushed against the wall. I have to do it, to that wasn't a big deal to now I'm at the point where a friend of mine takes injections every 2 weeks for his to reduce cholesterol in his heart, in his bloodstream to ease up the workload of his heart. And it's not that big a deal. I do it all the time. Now, the pharmacy will send one of two injections. They'll send the automatic one, which is kind of a pain. It's like a not automatic. Well, yeah, like I squeeze a muscle, clean it with alcohol, and then squeeze. And then there's a button on the top that you depress it. But if you don't get it at the right angle, it won't depress. So it's kind of a pain. And then there's a little window where you can see the medicine go down. So you depress it. Some of you may have given injections, so you're familiar with this. You depress it, and then you can watch the medicine go down. You can feel the needle go in, and you can watch the medicine go until it's empty. So the medicine's going in. And then I take the needle out and I rub his arm with alcohol or like a cotton pad. Usually, probably like I think I usually use a cotton pad with alcohol, and I just rub it because that can hurt. Shots can hurt after you give the shot. It can like leave a little knot and it hurts. So I'll rub it like that, to ease the discomfort. And after a few seconds, he's fine. And then there's the needle that, like I said, it depends on what the pharmacy sends. Sometimes it's an actual needle where you do the dart thing. You go depress it, and then put the medicine in that way. He said that one's less painful. I said, really? He goes, yeah, that one's less painful than the one that you depress the button on it or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. But it doesn't bother me to do it. It doesn't bother me at all. And when something had such a tight grip on you like that and you overcome it, you feel so powerful. You feel like, oh my God, I actually did it. Oh my God, that's incredible. You feel, I don't know, like, how male turkeys will strut around, spread their feathers and strut around showing the female? Well, that's almost how you feel like, yeah, I overcame that. You just, it's amazing. What other fear did I have? I had a tremendous phobia for going across bridges, because I was almost killed on a bridge. I lost control of the vehicle I was driving. You guys know this if you follow me for a long time. Lost control, driving too fast for the conditions. It was snowy and it's brand new snow, so it's super slick, like melted butter. And I spun one full spin, another full spin. The second spin, I don't remember. The first spin, I expected and waited to hit water. So I do believe I was on a bridge. And for many years after that, on the rare occasion that I had to go across a bridge, I would freak out. Well, over the years, I got tired of it having that much control over me. And so what I did was I told a friend of mine, we would drive by we'd go to Truman Lake, which is man-made and it's massive. If you ever want to look at it on a map, it's gigantic here in Missouri. Truman or Lake of the Ozarks, Truman Lake, they're all connected. Massive lake that's man-made. And I told it we'd pass a bridge, and I'm like, one day I want to walk across that. And he's like, you because he knew I had a terrible phobia for bridges. And I said, yeah, one day. And of course, year after year. And then finally I said, we're going to do it today. I don't want to, we went down there again for the day. And I said, I'm going to do it today. Not only did I go across it, most of it, I didn't go across the whole thing because it's pretty long and I didn't want to walk across the entire thing. But it's a suspension bridge. So as you're walking it, you could feel slight swaying. Not bad, but you could feel slight swaying. And it was perfectly fine. I didn't freak out. I didn't hyperventilate. I didn't go, oh my God, I can't do this. I can't. I just did it. I was determined to do it. And I did it. And like I said, the sense of accomplishment is amazing. Another time, I used to swim all the time. And I was terrified to jump off the diving board. Terrified. Terrified. But I watched people do it numerous times. And I said, how long do you stay down there before you come back up? They were like, a couple seconds. Really? So I'd watch them when they jump. I'd watch. And I did that for like, I don't know, really long time, 6 months, a year. I'm not really sure how long. And then one day I decided I'm going to do it today. And I was scared to death. And I told the lifeguard, I said, I'm jumping off the diving board. I've never done this before. Keep an eye on me. And he's like, okay, you know? And it was a piece of cake. It was a breeze. So I tell you all of that to let you know. And let me backtrack too. One thing that does still freak me out, I don't know. I think it might still freak me out, is walking across a gated, I don't know what you call this, but it's a bridge that's metal and you could see through it and you could see the water through the bridge. That I cannot, it was many years ago that I tried to do it, walk on it, and that's where the line was drawn. I simply could not do it. I could not. I saw the water and I'm like, nah, I'm not doing it. So you don't have to conquer every phobia, but if once you start knocking them down, like you're bowling and you're knocking down, the pins or whatever, the bowling balls, not the bowling ball, but the pins. Once you start knocking those phobias down, you're going to feel so amazing. You really are. And I'm a prime example that you can accomplish. You don't have to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to put so much pressure on yourself that you are going to go in panic mode because you're trying to knock down all your phobias, and you can take your sweet time. There still may be barriers. There may still be some phobias that you go, okay, I did try that a couple times and I just can't. And that's okay. That's not a big deal. If it's not necessary for your life, it's not necessary for your job, yeah. It's snowing pretty hard. Holy moly. We're getting the second storm coming in. Oh, it's so exciting. So much fun. So anyway, yeah, I want to talk to you about phobias, and you can conquer them. Maybe not every single one, but it's okay. It's really, really okay. And even if something isn't a phobia, but it just scares the tar out of you, you're like, yeah, I'm not down. You can still conquer that too. I remember I was working security in a mall and I was in a pet store. I was always at the pet store because I love animals. Anyway, the one girl that worked in there, she said, come in after I close because I want you to meet this macaw. And I was like, nope. That sucker was the size of a 3-year-old child. That's how tall it was, or 2 or 3-year-old. And I'm like, yeah, no, that thing is gigantic. It was a giant. It's called a giant macaw. It scared the tar out of me. And I'm looking at the size of that beak, and I'm like, if he has an issue with me, he's gonna freaking take a chunk of my skin. No. She said, come on, just come see me. He's gentle. I'm like, yeah, He's gentle. Come see me after I close. Okay. So I go in there and I'm looking at him like, oh God, I don't know about this. You're just like so big. Like he looks like he could pick me up and fling me across the room. She said, sit down and let him come to you. I was like, okay. Not really loving this idea. I'm sitting down. He comes over to me. He climbs in my lap and I start petting him and we're like instant friends. He's super chill, super relaxed, and it made me at ease with him, and it was just a beautiful thing. But initially, I'm like, oh no, there won't be none of that. Nah, So, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about something different, and some phobias can be conquered. You just have to be willing to do it. Okay? You guys take care. Much love. Bye.